And we're live. Welcome to Awakening Warriors, where we talk about life, love, lessons, and learning.
Yep.
So we had a pretty good week, eventful week this week. We
Traveled.
went to Cleveland. Went to a seminar, a business real estate seminar, networking seminar, whatever you want to call it, and we just met a lot of cool people, came across a lot of new ideas and potentially opportunities. So we're coming off this past week pretty fired up, I suppose, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So got a lot going on, a lot to think about, a lot to process as far as what direction we're going to go as we proceed in life, because we're kind of at a fork in the road personally.
Which we've talked about in previous episodes, just like with where we are in life and the way that just things are going, like we're at this point of like, okay, what do we want to do? What does that look like? And just like needing to make some decisive decisions about that. And we were just presented with a couple other things, which, I mean, obviously nothing's like happening, but they're just like things to consider and things to be open to and look into. So
there's a saying, Jim Rohn talks about it, and I'm sure I've mentioned it in the previous episodes or something, but he talks about being on the fence, and you can't really make a decision on the fence. And if you jump on one side of the fence, well, that you don't like it, faster you can know and jump on the other side of the fence. So, or you pick a direction and you start walking that way, the faster you'll know, like, okay, I'm gonna walk the other way. So, and at this point we just got some directions to choose and start walking, but we're in the evaluating stage right now. And so yeah. What's your favorite part of the seminar?
So I feel like we've been to like different like conferences, seminars like this in the past, and for some reason I feel like there were just like certain speakers that like really struck me as like, I don't know, I just really liked them. And a lot of them I feel like were newer to me too, which is cool, because I'm thinking about like when we went to Lions and Live, a lot of them were like new to me too, but I was aware of them already because I was already following Sean, where I follow Mark already, but I wasn't seeing a ton of stuff, so I don't know necessarily who his connections were. So I really liked Ben, I can't remember his last name, but like his story is just really cool, and I think like that's a part of just what is attractive to me in general, because I really liked his like time when he had the mic, because there was like a story attached to it, and then I really liked Maurice's time too, and he also had a story, which I talk about often with like the kind of books that I like novel type stories with lessons in them, like The Alchemist and The Celestine Prophecy, and so I think I appreciate that a lot in speakers as well. But then I really had a lot of fun at like the birthday bash. So Mark Evans, who put this on, after the second day, like in the evening, it was his birthday, I think, like last week, so he put on like a James Bond themed like party. So there was like food and drinks and music and outside like area and girls walking around on stilts and an auction, and so that was just really fun too, to like connect and like hang out with the people that we had started conversations with kind of like at lunch and things like that, but to kind of just like more like let loose like in that way and make those connections is really cool.
Nice.
So I didn't like pinpoint one favorite thing, but those are just like some of the highlights for me.
This event was, because we've been to these events for years, all the way back from Amway, really. But this particular event, I feel like was different for me, because I was a lot more like go-gettery when talking to people. Like usually I'm like, I sit in the chair, in between space and whatever else, and I'm just like, I usually don't engage unless people engage me. Especially like when I look back and when we went to Lions Den Live, we didn't make we made some connections, and some connections were basically already there due to the fact that I was already following them on Facebook and stuff like that. But I didn't make any like new relationships. So this one, like, dude, I talked to like fucking everybody, you know. Like, I could have done better. I still could have done better, but you know, compared to, because like when we first got there, and like everybody's conversating around the thing before they enter the room. Everybody's talking to everybody, and you know, like you went to the bathroom, and I'm just like standing there, and I'm like, I don't know what to fucking say, blah 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 blah. You know, story in my head, and you know, like people started coming on up to me, and like I was like, oh okay, cool, like you know, like, and then I started kind of opening up and you know getting going, and uh, as the seminar progressed, I just started getting more and more, you know, comfortable engaging with people. So I really appreciated that of myself, I guess. So yeah, that was probably my favorite part because I saw the change in myself, you know. So, but obviously the speakers were great, and I took away a lot of notes from those guys. So especially having new speakers.
I think I also had like a little bit of a different mindset going into it just because like I've owned businesses before, and I do air quotes because they're like MLMs, and not to say those aren't businesses, but I never like took those seriously, whereas like where I am now, I like literally have an opportunity to like market myself and run things how I want to. And so I think just like, because all that information is super helpful regardless, like it's good to know, it's good to hear, but then like when I don't know, I just feel like I was in a different place than I have been before.
You're thinking of ways to apply it to your specific...
Right, instead of just like, oh, that's good, oh, that's interesting, more of like, oh, okay, like, I could do this, and so...
Yeah.
It was just really good. I had a good time. I didn't really know what to expect, and which I think maybe, like, helped it exceed those expectations, because I wasn't really expecting a lot, and it was, like, really fun.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Expected it to be smaller, but... glad that it was the size it was, and glad that I got the opportunity to meet and shake hands with all the people that I did. So, but so this is actually one of the books that one of the speakers actually gave out. So we got like 3 or 4 books, which was super cool because I always love books. But this particular book I started reading on the way home by Mike Aguilera. I butchered it. Butchered the fuck out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. They definitely said it, but...
They said it, yeah, a few times, and they said it right, and it's not as hard as it sounds, but it's all about the mindset. And I was reading it, and, like, this is what it really comes down to. Like, the foundation of the foundation of the foundation, in my personal opinion. Like, how you see things, your attachment to things, and what you believe specifically, you know. So, like, what's the difference between a person that's, you know, living under the bridge versus a person that lives on a $300 million home? You know, it's literally their mindset. Like, their fucking mindset is the difference. And if you can learn to evolve your mindset, you can learn to become whoever the fuck you want to. But the problem is we're all attached to specific ideas, beliefs, and concepts that we were raised with, essentially, you know.
Side note, I want to go back just one hot second, because I think it was Mike that talked about this, that he doesn't necessarily love the word mindset, but mind growth.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he's like, if you set, like, if you think of concrete, and concrete sets, like, what does it do? It, like, hardens, and it becomes like that, and he's like, you want mind growth.
Yeah, and even that, like, you can, like, dig deeper into that specific thought. Your subconscious, when you hear mindset, now it's thinking it's set, it is there, versus if you, just like he pointed out, mind growth, if you think about that, then it will think of like, oh, expansion, you know.
Right. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to grow. I'm not like set. I'm not good.
Yeah.
I'm like...
Yep. So, yeah, good call. So some of these things, literally, probably every single parent has, like, literally said to the kid, like, don't pick that money up, or don't put that in your mouth because it's dirty, or, you know, some shit like that. And he brought that up on stage, and I literally thought, like, as soon as he said that, I'm like, dude, I floss my teeth with money. Like, dollar bills.
Straight up does.
Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know. Like, any dollar bill that's just laying around, I need something crisp, to fucking make it nice and go in there. But, and she always got grossed out. I've been doing this fucking shit for years. Like, fucking years I've been doing it. Because I got, like, certain teeth that have a big enough gap that, I get shit stuck in there. And, whether it's a sugar packet at the fucking restaurant or it's usually a dollar bill if I'm in my truck or some shit. So if I got a dollar bill, I just fucking floss it out and call it a day. And so that's what instantly, like when he's talking about this, I'm like, I wonder if my parents, I don't think my parents ever told me that. Like, as a kid, like, yeah, it's gross, don't put that in your mouth. Like, my parents didn't give a fuck.
Mouth necessarily. Like, they were saying the examples, which I've never heard either, but that, like, parents will even tell their kids, like, after you count your birthday money, after you count your lemonade stand money, like, go wash your hands because money's dirty. So, like, even just touching it, like, parents would be like, go wash your hands.
Yeah.
Which I'd never heard that one, but he brought up the other example of, have you ever heard your parents say, like, money doesn't grow on trees?
Yeah.
That one I heard, so I was like, oh, yeah. But it was interesting because that popped in my head of me always being like, oh, that's gross when you put money in your mouth. But I'm like, what? Where did that one come from? Like, clearly, because in my mind, my parents may have never said, like, wash your hands, money's dirty, but money's like, from my hands to your hands, from your hands to the cashier, from the cashier to the...
Did that person wash their hands? Was it stuck in a fucking hooker's ass, blah, blah, blah.
Stripper's thong.
Yeah. But I just don't think about that shit personally. Like, I understand why people think that way, and I get it. Like, yeah, it could have fucking disease and blah, blah, blah on it. It could. But I don't know about it. I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know where it was last. I don't care.
And the point is, though, like, if you, like, even just germ-wise are telling your kids, like, money is dirty, then that belief system is then implanted in their mind.
So then, in that way, they don't attract money if you want to go that route, So you'll either, whether you want to go the spiritual route and say attract, manifest, or something like that, or you can go the route of even subconsciously sabotaging the self-sabotaging the money that you do have coming in.
Right, because your belief system is that it's actually dirty, so, like, we need to get rid of it.
Yeah. AJ was just talking about a gentleman we met, super cool dude, about the fact that he always gets to this particular level and then he self-sabotages himself back to the other level because he really excels under pressure, like not having the money and not doing the thing. So it's almost like he makes himself subconsciously fail in order for him to go back to where he's good at.
Right. To where he can produce and
Yeah, but how do you ever get past that? Because you don't want to keep going back to that spot. You want to develop your skills so you're able to actually get to the next level and stay at that particular level and then eventually climb to the next.
And these beliefs can they go in all areas of life. So not just like your ability to make and keep money, but like who you partner with, what kind of food you eat, if you work out or not, if you have like friends, like decent, like generous friends, because if you feel like I don't talk to people, I'm not very good at talking to people, it's a belief system you hold that you're never going to make new friends. So it's just like with anything. I'm a bad driver, I'm clumsy, like all of these things that people like hold on to these beliefs, like it's not just the ability to like make and keep money.
And I guess really so it comes foundations and mindset or growth is really what we're talking about, but we can really kind of push this into rewriting stories as well, because that's really what it's about as well, because you have a foundation of what you want, and you want to rewrite that story into something else. So like Sean Whalen, he talked about rewriting the stories that he specifically held about himself. For me, like stories that I hold is I have anxiety. Like I almost identify with that shit. And the other ones are like, oh, I'm not vulnerable, so I need to increase my vulnerability. So you have to be able to identify these things that you're not you're not the best at, right? But you also can't sit there and like attach yourself to identify with that and let that be your whole fucking journey of oh yeah. You have to be able to identify, care but not that much, and able to grow past those specific challenges.
Right. And a couple of things that came to mind when you were just talking is like the care but not too much thing. Like why that's important is because also what you resist persists. So if you're like, I have this story that I have anxiety and I hate that about myself, I want to get rid of it, it's terrible, like resisting that or being like, I want to ignore that, I just don't want to even look at it, like that's going to also make it continue to like have power because you're giving it your power. So like yeah, you have to care and be aware of it in order to change that belief system, but you also can't like death grip it or like punch it in the face necessarily because that would be like holding on and then resisting it. But
Yeah.
anyway, what we resist persists too.
So shine a light on it, but don't like fucking hold it there and like just yeah. So one of the things is he talks about the penny story in this book. Don't stick the money in your mouth or don't pick up the money or wash your hands. Money is dirty, basically story. And it says that's just one small example of a penny. But there are many more lessons you encounter every day as a child that were told to you by your parents, teachers, friends, and more. And those lessons became deeply rooted in your mind, not just concepts, but as bedrock foundations of all of your thinking. The bedrock foundations of lessons became your belief systems, and those belief systems became your identity. And together, those belief systems and identity shape every single decision that you make, every decision you make and action you take today. From who you're married to, from where you work, to how much money you earn, to your level of fitness, to your health, your friendships, and to your home. So, I'll finish this real quick. Love something about your life, hate something about your life. It's all a part of your belief system's identity that developed when you were a child. That might shake you up a little bit, but there's exciting news, you can change it. So that's the greatest thing about this is that if you're currently holding on to a particular belief system or ideas about yourself, you can change it. That's not permanent. That's not forever. Like if you're fat, you want to get fit, you can change that with your belief system. Like you're like, okay, I'm a fat ass and I sit on the couch and watch TV. Okay, so change your mindset to somebody who, eats healthy and goes to the gym instead of watching TV. So that's the biggest thing for me is knowing that whatever belief systems, because you didn't get a choice about the belief systems that were programmed into you when you were a child, right? But now that you're an adult, assuming that you're an adult and not a kid watching this, you can fucking do whatever you want. You can program yourself with any book that you want. You can program yourself with any video that you want, and that's the particular biggest thing for me.
And I think like sometimes it can sound so like change your belief system. You have the ability. So like okay, literally what does that look like? So if your beliefs create your thoughts, which create your feelings, which create your actions, like where in there do you not feel aligned? Or where in there do you feel like a disconnect? Are the actions that you're taking, which is watching TV or going to the gym, like those types of things, are the actions making sense? Does that align with what you want? And if it isn't, then you need to go a step back further. Like what are the feelings that I'm having? Okay, if I don't necessarily love those, what thoughts am I having? And then if those don't make sense and aren't aligning either, then you need to look at your beliefs.
And I feel like there's to somewhat of a degree of flexibility with that, because you can change your beliefs just by doing the actions. So you can skip all the other bullshit and just start taking the actions now. Because
those are just areas to look at, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the times we see the actions that we're taking. Those are very obvious. And so sometimes, like for you and I, we're very aware of thoughts that we have and feelings and our beliefs, but a lot of them for a lot of people are subconscious, so they're not going to be able to just be like, oh, actually I self-sabotage myself, because that takes a lot of self-awareness and growth and work to get to that point. So if you're not, then start with the things you can literally see, like what does my bank account look like, what does my relationship look like, what am I doing in my spare time. And
if there's things that you don't want, start taking actions, because if you start taking the actions, you will eventually, as long as they're consistent and full-heartedly push through, you will eventually, you're subconsciously, you'll start thinking you deserve that shit.
Right.
Like, you'll be like, okay, I go to the gym every day. I deserve to be in good shape. You know, I eat healthy every day. I deserve to be in good shape. So even though you might not believe it right now, and you can't change your mindset, because changing your mindset's, your mind growth is literally a very challenging task when you've been holding on to these particular belief systems for a very long time. So I always say, like, you know, most adults, like our parents, they'll never fucking change at all. Like, they're always going to be the same people unless something fucking happens, because they hold on to these specific belief systems for their whole fucking lives. Their neural pathways are so ingrained into their brain, it's never going to change. So I can fucking talk to my parents all day long.
And that's also because I don't want to, though. So, not to say that somebody in that position could not change, because they absolutely could.
Yeah.
But if you're holding on to with those identities and those beliefs, then they are not correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody in that position absolutely has the ability to if they want to.
Yeah, for sure. You do have the option to change, but unless you're already involved with this type of stuff, or like you're listening, like if you're listening to this, you have every possibility of changing, because you're fucking listening to it, you know?
I think even a good one, too, is, like, association. Because even, like, our mind growth was, like, even expanded with, like, some of the conversations we had. Because I think that, like, I don't, like, put us on a pedestal, but, like, I'm aware that just kind of, like, in our circle, and we definitely have, like, go-getters in our circle, too. I'm not discrediting that, but I think that we,
more intentional.
Yes, and
more hungry.
Yeah. And that's okay if people aren't. Like, not everybody has to be on the same page, but it was just interesting when we got around these, like, higher level individuals, like, conversations we were having.
Conversations change.
Some of the doubts that we had voiced, and they were like, what? Like, so? And we're like, holy crap! Like, what? Like, that feels so scary to us to, like, even... Like, for me, literally, to even, like, talk about some of these things, like, literally made me, I was like, dude, I could throw up right now. Like, even just thinking about doing this thing. And they were like, good. Like, good. Like, and that's just crazy to me, because then again, you, like, look at our circle, and if I were to say that to somebody, they'd be like, oh, well, that means you're really scared, then don't do it, like, just be safe, just whatever. But, like, yeah, you get around these people, and it's like, I don't know, it's just different.
These are, like, high-level individual, like, as far as goes, producers, you know?
Right.
And, you know, it's interesting to me because, you know, money's one thing. Money's not everything, right? But the funny thing is I can see a congruence or a reflection of, like, the conversations that we're having and their income. It's like, you know, like, talking to AJ or talking to Justin or talking to Matt. All those guys were talking about, like, deep level shit, and I'm like, dude, I can't even fucking talk to anybody around, like, in my friends group about this level of shit, because it's, like, so deep, and they've, like, they're putting me in awe because of, like, the level that they're at. And I'm like, fuck, dude, like, if I talk to other people, they'll just be like, you know, about where I'm at, it'll just go over their head. Mm-hmm. Whereas I'm talking to these fucking guys, and I'm like, holy shit, I never saw it like this, or holy, you know, like, it's really interesting, because, like, and I even pointed it out. I was like, dude, I appreciate the conversation. I said that to multiple people. I was like, dude, I really genuinely appreciate the conversation that we're having right now, because, you know, it is so high level, and, you know, they lifted me up, essentially. You know, like, when we talked to Matt or whatever, you were like, oh, you know, like, I feel like he just poured into us, you know, and, you know, we weren't able to offer anything. And I was like, dude, just him being able to pour into us is probably filling his cup, because, you know, he likes to talk about that and lift other people up.
And we were eager to, like, continue that conversation, too. It's not like he was just talking at us and, like, the end. Like, we were having a conversation.
Yeah, I was just intaking information. And, yeah, so
dude,
that's just how
talking about is getting me, like...
Well, yeah.
Again, like...
Well, yeah, because these are high-level individuals, and it's like, fuck, dude. These guys are fucking epic, you know? And I don't get a lot of the association. Like, the one dude showed me his Forex account, and that's like $3.5 million. I'm like, what the fuck? This is insane. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
It was interesting too, because again, like, it's not all about money, but if a belief for you is coming up in your head right now, or a thought about like, oh well, they're just rich, how did they get there, what do they like, if you have like any negativity about what we're saying because of the money situation, I would highly encourage you to look at your beliefs, because these people were also huge givers.
Yeah,
like,
all of them. That whole thing, like, just I think in the art alone, I don't know, I think the whole night was like $500,000
that they were giving to an
charity.
organization to help get kids out of sex trafficking.
Yeah.
Like, that was the point.
Yeah, yep, that was the whole thing. So, I'm sure they had expenses and they probably took that out. But then every dollar after the expenses was just dedicated to, a fucking charity, which is crazy to me. And then, like, that charity even has a high level of return rate. Usually it's like 25 cents on the dollar. 25% of our stuff goes to the actual people. It was like 73% or 77%.
Yeah.
And they said each year they wanted, or each, whatever years they said by like 2020 or 2030, they wanted to have 100% of it go towards, getting children saved. So, but I don't know. It's just when you go to these types of events, which I highly encourage and recommend, and we had to pay to get there. Like, we had to pay to be around these individuals. But I have no problem paying around these motherfuckers, because the one dude gave me an idea, like a business idea, that was worth a fucking 5 times, probably even more than that. It was probably, a fucking $1 million idea if you really get it going. And like how he did it. Like, he did it step by step. I sat there during lunch with him, and we literally just sat there and talked, and I was talking about where I was at, and he was talking about where he was at, and how he developed a business, and how he did it. And I'm like, dude, that's free, and it cost him $2,000 to set up that website. I was like, dude, so basically, for a few grand, I could fucking have this developed. It might not be overnight, but I can literally develop $1 million company for fucking $2,000. I'm like, that's crazy to me. And he thought about it. And he's the one that was just like, oh, doing this. And then he's like, oh, I came across this problem with, the real estate investors that had tenants. And so I did this, I'm like, dude, you already gave me the fucking cheat code. Just like Sean talks about, copy what works. So we don't have to come up and reinvent the wheel. We just have to fucking, figure out what everybody else is doing and do it that way. This dude, he lived in Pennsylvania. And, why can't I do this in Michigan? There's no reason I can't. He just gave me the fucking cheat code. And then even, the funny thing is, even if I came across a problem, I got his number. I can fucking text him. Hey man, I got a new problem. What did you do, or have you ever had this particular issue? Like, and I bet you he would text back, no problem. I added him on Facebook. We're Facebook friends now. And again, another individual that's at a high level, just pouring into us. Like, everybody we talked to just poured into us, I feel like. I feel like we were probably one of the lower level individuals at that group. So this is kind of off topic, kind of. So there's a dude up there, he was talking, and he's talking about his fucking how many door units he had and everything else, and I'm thinking, okay, he's probably in his mid-30s, he's probably like 37 years old, right? And it's kind of what I'm thinking in my mind. And I'm like, yeah, when I'm at his age, I'll be up there, I'll get it there. And then as the seminar went on, it turns out this fucking asshole is 29 years old. And I'm like, I'm fucking 29 years old. I'm like, what the fuck? And so, you can go into comparison and whether it's good or bad, and I believe it's both, personally.
Honestly, this comes back to a belief that you want to be at a certain point before 30, or by 30.
Yeah,
That's a belief that you hold.
Yeah, yep. So, I don't know, it's just really interesting coming off this this seminar and kind of reevaluating what was going on and the opportunities that we have. So, over this next week, I'm going to think about the one opportunity, and then I'm going to start talking to the other dude about the other opportunities. So, because I'm not really sure what direction I want to do. If I stay here, I'm going to do the one opportunity, but if I leave, I'm going to do a different opportunity. And
I feel like, couldn't you do both?
To a degree, but I can't.
Obviously, you have to have it big enough here to be able to leave.
Yeah, I don't think I can manage it. properly. I would not to mention I don't want to I want to either focus there or focus here too. So I think that's part of my problem personally is I'm in too many different areas.
And diversification is important, but I think like with
100%.
us and with you, like it starts off as like a lot of things where like maybe we, like you said, should just really focus, and that thing's like really good, great, awesome, let's go.
Yeah, get it taken
let's take
off.
this down now. And
Yep, for sure. So, I mean, ultimately that's what we just wanted to talk about is like the mindset of individuals, because it's just funny. Again, I go back to the man, you know, that's homeless, that mindset growth, whatever you want to call it, to his mindset, to the individual that's worth 300 million and his mind growth. You know, what is the difference? Like, because I guarantee you, if you take away everything, and like Sean is living proof of it. You know, if you take away everything that he has and fucking throw him into the wolves and he's bankrupt, he will come back up and be a fucking millionaire again because of the
mind growth.
Yeah, because of his mindset, because of his mind growth, the ideas and the concepts that he holds about himself and others. You know, like
Go ahead.
If you think everybody wants to fucking rob you and scam you and take from you and all those shit, that's probably what you'll find. But if you think everybody wants to pour into you and, you know, help you and uplift you, that's what you're going to fucking find.
I was going to say, that's what Matt said too. He's like, I mean, could I build it all again? He's like, hell yeah. Do I want to though? Not really.
Yeah. Yep.
Like even that, just the belief, like he knows, like if I lost it all, like, yeah, I could.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And another thing that Sean mentioned, and a lot of his stuff is repeats for me, but it's always good to rehear it and, you know, get his energy.
Mastery of repetition.
Yeah, yeah. The most important real estate is between your ears, you know. So that is 100% the most important thing, because that makes you happy, that makes you sad, that makes you angry, that makes you, you know, whatever it is. Right here controls everything of your life, you know. There is, like, you could be in fucking prison and you could be the happiest person alive because of the mindset that you hold. So, the most important real estate is the 6 inches between your ears. So, probably like 12 for you.
Rude. Not even true. Bring a ruler next episode. Yours is probably bigger.
But yeah, I mean, that's really all we've got. I mean, it's a short episode, but I mean, it's right fucking straight to the point. And I think we covered pretty much everything that, you know, was necessary and important to us.
And I already brought this up a little bit, but something that I just kind of want to hit on again, like your association, I think, like, is so important, because even if you don't necessarily fully believe in yourself and you're working on your belief system, like, get around people that do, because we were around people that did, and they don't even, like, really know us, but they were like, dude, you guys can do it, like, absolutely, there's so much opportunity, like, all these things. And so, like, if you can't do it for yourself right away, like, then your association's going to be huge, too.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, assuming that you live in America, like, bro, the fucking opportunity. I always say that even to myself. I'm like, dude, you live in fucking America. Like, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with you? You know, like, there's people that come here because of the opportunity, and then we're fucking, Ben said it. Ben said, oh, what the fuck did he say? He said, who's in here is an immigrant? And you know, all the immigrants raise their hand. And then he's like, you know, you people are blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, who's an American? And we all raise our hand. He's like, you people are the fucking, like, most lucky, blessed, and blah, blah, blah people here. And, you know, you, basically, we take all of our shit for granted. You know, like, we don't even know. If we started with the mindset over here that, like, we were literally limited by government, and then we came to America, that's why fucking immigrants do so well here.
Seriously, dude, I think about that with, like the guys working on the roof, and, like, they've got literally their own freaking business. I'm like, dude, if they can do it, like, what the hell?
Yeah, they don't even speak English. Like,
right.
Yeah. Like, I'm working with them, you know, like, I don't give a fuck whether they speak English or not. I'm like, fuck, get up there, motherfucker. Like, I don't want to climb up on that roof and fucking fall off, but, you know, yeah, so, it's just interesting to me. Our mindsets are basically like limited, seeing limited opportunity as Americans, and just limited everything and take everything for granted. And then when you see these foreigners come across, and they just fucking kill it, So
And we are the only one that can like limit the greatness. That was like something else that came up multiple times too. Like we are the only person that can limit that.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
For ourselves.
Yep. So yeah, that's all we got for you.
Yep.
Cool.
Subscribe, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. I don't know if you've been doing podcast players, so we'll just leave that one out. Good thing I do my job. But yeah, thank you guys for being here.
YouTube's the best place to look because you can see our sexy ass.
But yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. We're just, like he said, just fired up, pumped up, coming off of some really great speakers, a really great event, and some really great connections, which is just feels really good. So
yeah, for sure.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye.